Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you missed any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
The blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Keep on. Never say die. Keep on. Blackness. Never say die. Never say
When in the midst of sorrow, you can see up when looking down. A brighter day tomorrow will bring. Oh, you hear the voice of reason telling you this can never be done. No matter how hard reality seems, just hold on to your dreams, yeah. As long as you keep your head to the sky, can we?
That's right. As long as you keep your head to the sky, you can win. We believe that around here. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, your host and Chief White House correspondent. Happy Cesar Chavez Day to folks in California that are celebrating, and people all across the country. Whether you are a part of the organized labor community or not, we owe a debt to Cesar Chavez for making this indeed a more perfect union. I'm in touch until you be in touch. Be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, DRNIIQ, and I pop right on up. Now, this is birthday eve. Tomorrow I'll be a little older and hopefully just a little bit wiser. But right now, today, this is my last show before I... Thanks, Andy. This is my last show before I get officially a little older. And so we promise this hour to make it really good and extra special with some of the voices you're about to hear from. But first, it's time for you to decide the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. You all know, as an author, as an educator, as a journalist, as someone who loves learning, this story absolutely pains me, and it might pain you as well. The entire staff at federal agency that funds libraries and museums has been put on leave. That's right. The Institute of Museum and Library Services has placed its entire staff on administrative leave. The IMLS is a relatively small federal agency with around 70 employees that awards grant funding to museums and libraries across the United States. Well, guess what? This month, President Trump named Keith E. Sonderling, the Deputy Secretary of Labor, the new acting director of IMLS. This followed Trump's previous executive order shrinking 7 federal agencies, including the Institute of Museum and Library Services. According to the statement from AFGE Local 3403, which represents the IMLS workers, the agency staff was notified by email about being placed on paid administrative leave for 90 days after a, quote, brief meeting with DOJ staff and IMLS leadership. Employees had to turn in their government property and email accounts were disabled. again, if you're like, okay, wait a minute, the IMLS, what is that again? Well, it's again an independent federal agency that provides grants to libraries and museums across the country. According to the American Library Association, IMLS provides the majority of federal library funds. The IMLS says it awarded $266 million in grants and research funding to cultural institutions last year. This money goes to help staff, to fund maintenance, and create new programs. In comparison, the projected 2025 budget for the National Endowment for the Arts was $210 million. So you don't have to go far to feel the impact of this. I know my mother-in-law loves going to libraries. What's one of her favorite places to go? Go to the library. And she proudly, keeps her library card in the front of her wallet. And she's down in Norfolk, Virginia Beach. And so I'm sure soon and very soon, she's going to start to see and feel the impact of this funding cut. And you may very well feel it too. I know we have lots of lovely museums across the country, lots of lovely museums in Los Angeles, not too far from our home station. I'm thinking of the California Science Center and the California African American Museum. On my birthday, one of the things I'm most looking forward to doing is going to the Whitney Museum in New York, which has a lot of extraordinary exhibits. Think about it. So many families take their kids to museums all the time. It's a great weekend adventure. A lot of these museums are free. And that's likely going to change with this action by the administration. In other news, speaking of museums, I was talking about libraries, but speaking of museums, Trump's executive order targets the Smithsonian over divisive race-centered ideology. The LA Times reporting that President Trump accused the Smithsonian institution of propagating divisive race-based ideology and issued an executive order just this past Thursday demanding an end to federal funding for exhibitions and programs based on racial themes that, quote, divide Americans. The order, titled Restoring Truth and Sanity to the American History, it directs Vice President J.D. Vance to remove improper ideology from the Smithsonian's 19 museums and the National Zoo in Washington, D.C. Trump's order also seeks to restore the Department of Interior public monuments and statues that were removed or changed to perpetuate a false reconstruction of American history, inappropriately minimizing the value of certain historical events or figures, or include any other improper partisan ideology. Is this what makes America great? Is it? I ain't asking for a friend. I'm asking for me. Moving along, I'm lactose intolerant. And so, I don't know, that might be a little TMI, but let me speak up for the lactose intolerant people out there. But yet and still, I thought this was an important story to share, as reported by NBC News, about how milk is getting caught in the middle of Trump's policy agenda. Let me explain. President Trump's move in Washington, his moves are being felt in the milking barns of an upstate New York dairy farm. There you have people like AJ Warmoth, who said he's already seeing costs go up from Trump's tariffs, while the threat of a wider trade war is driving down the prices that he gets paid for his cow's milk. Now, while none of Trump's policies have specifically targeted the milk industry, dairy farmers, they say that they've been caught in the fray on a number of fronts. Their stories illustrate the fast pace of change across the federal government at the beginning of the second Trump administration, as well as the intersection of two policy areas, immigration and the economy, where voters are giving Trump markedly different grades so far. So let me get it straight. The librarians aren't happy. The museum curators aren't happy. And now the dairy farmers aren't happy. Okay. I'm just trying to keep track. You keeping track? Y'all keeping track in a More Perfect group chat on YouTube? I hope so. Finally, Trump might let taxes rise for the rich to cover breaks on tips. That's what Axios is reporting. The Trump administration is discussing a surprising option to help fulfill his campaign trail promises, allowing the richest Americans, allowing their tax rates to rise in return for cutting taxes on tips. Now, here's the big picture. Senior White House officials believe that letting income taxes on the very highest earners rise would buy breathing room on other priorities and help blunt Democrats' attacks as they seek to extend Trump's 2017 tax cut. By the numbers, currently the top income tax rate is 37%, charged on income above about $609,000 for an individual or $731,000 for a married couple. If the 2017 law were allowed to expire, that would jump to pre-2018 rate of 39.6 and lower the threshold above which the top rate applies. Around 1% of taxpayers are in the top bracket. And so, these are some of the shenanigans that we're hearing about in DC that you should know about. They may not tax your tips, but they, if you don't tax their tips, but you cut their Medicaid or Medicare, right? Well, ultimately, you're going to be spending more. And so, make sure that you're doing addition and subtraction. And don't be fooled. Don't let it happen. When we come forward, I'm looking forward to being in conversation with this really incredible individual, Antonio. He's a second chance employee, and his work centers around healing and purpose and transformation, drawing from his own experiences to uplift and offer hope beyond incarceration. I'm going to introduce you to Antonio, and we're going to hear a little bit more about his story when we come forward. You're listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda, a thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature? Or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting, on Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominic DePrima, Nii-Quartelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate day 100 since the wildfires flared up, and we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting Town Hall, Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now. No more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
Taxes was feeling so stuck. Sitting in traffic, squeezing into a parking spot, all to squeeze in getting tax help during your lunch break. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert who does your taxes for you, while you go about your day getting real-time notifications about their progress and the most money back guaranteed. Now this is Taxes. Intuit TurboTax. Get an expert now on TurboTax.com. Only available with TurboTax Live Full Service, real-time updates only in iOS mobile apps. See guarantee details at TurboTax.com/guarantees.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests. As we effort to build a more perfect union.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and really delighted to welcome, there he is, Antonio. He is the product manager over at ViaPath Technologies. For those of you who are a little less familiar with ViaPath Technologies, they really are champions of change. What do I mean by that? They are leading on the ground change for the formerly incarcerated and their families. Antonio, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dr. Nii, how you doing today?
I'm well. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm glad to be here. Thank
Well,
you for the invitation.
I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that you're willing to share a little bit of your story. Talk to us about your journey from being incarcerated, now formerly incarcerated, to your work with ViaPath Technology.
Cool. I'm Antonio Sadler. I'm a married father of two girls. Me and my wife, Adrian, we got two beautiful girls, Aubrey and Zoe. We've been together about 16 years, and I'm a product manager at ViaPath Technologies. It's a great company. I think I would start with my story saying around the age of 14 and 15, I started really getting into trouble growing up. You know, I was in the 90s and influenced by a lot of different things. Also, my father was, he hadn't got his life together yet. He was still in the streets, and I was emulating him. He was well known in our hometown. We're from North Carolina, and this all ended up in 2012. Was about the worst year of my life. And I always have to say this, and it's just, I've always said this. I was accused of some armed robberies in our town. It was just a photo lineup identification. A girl picked me out, and from that moment on in 2012, I was fighting for my life, fighting for my freedom. I've always denied that I didn't do those crimes, but I will say, and I've always admitted that I was not out here doing Bible studies. I was definitely getting in trouble, and my lifestyle made me susceptible to those type of accusations, unfortunately. And I was on probation and ended up going to jail and fighting for my life, man. My wife had just had our two daughters that year. She just gave birth to our second child. So she had two infants, and we were engaged and about to get married, and I went to jail. So all in all, I ended up pleading no contest to armed robbery, and I was sentenced to 15 years, suspended to 10. And it was not something that I wanted to do. Nobody wants to do, of course, but my family was worried that, taking the risk of going to trial, I was willing to try to fight for it, but we didn't have good representation. We couldn't afford great representation, is the truth. And I just had to accept it. My family said that they would stay with me throughout the journey. So I pled no contest and accepted the plea deal, and my journey began in prison in SCDC. And I can tell you that I was really still dealing with a lot of issues. I don't regret what has happened at all. I've landed well. That prison experience really, I feel, was in a lot of ways divine in its nature. And God has restored me. He kept my family with me. And the things that I needed to escape, the mentality, the lifestyle that I needed to overcome, He's given me power over it. but it's been a journey. A good part of that journey was done at a prison that was it had a restorative model for incarceration instead of punitive, and it was under a warden who believed in people's ability to change, and that also led into the job opportunity with ViaPath. All in all, I left in 2021 after doing just under 10 years. My wife and kids waiting for me. My kids were a lot older, and we had been through some tough things. But within 60 days of being released, I was offered the job opportunity with ViaPath Technologies, and it's directly related to my experience inside with tablet technology, which was incredible. This all was during the pandemic. I was inside during the height of the pandemic, which was a nightmare to say the least.
Yeah.
But I can't say that technology was a game changer, especially during that time. And I used every resource that I can get my hands on to the best of my ability. I fought my case all the way to as far as I could, and was just ended up realizing that, I'm winning. I'm winning here. I'm winning with what I'm doing, and just my family and I both made a decision to stop fighting the legal case and just move on with life and be the best person that I could be. So that's what I do every day.
Yeah, and speaking of being the best person you can be, Antonio, I just want to go back to something that you just said that really caught my attention. It may have caught the attention of some of our leaders, learners, and listeners. I've never heard anybody talk about their experience being incarcerated in some ways being a divine experience. What do you mean by that?
Well, I was struggling with some serious character flaws, and I'm a believer. My dad's change. I mentioned my dad and his change. It happened when I was about 15 years old. Overnight, he became a different person, and it was through he had an encounter with God and Jesus Christ, and from that moment on, he's been trying to and successfully leading our family. From a biblical worldview to the best of his ability. He's not perfect. I'm not perfect, but he definitely made sure we were in church. We understood the word, and I can tell you that he invested a lot of time and money and resources into me, because he realized that his former life was he was my muse and he was my inspiration for the path that I was going on. He realized that, and I even told him that, and it took God to kind of help me like it took God to help him. And I say this because 2 weeks before my face was put on the news for the charges that I ended up pleading no contest to, my parents' front porch at their house, and in tears, I was going through some serious mental issues, some addiction issues, and I just put my daughter to sleep and realized I wasn't the best person for her. And I went on that porch crying. I looked up and I asked God, I told God if he didn't change me, that I would probably die this way, because I couldn't change myself. And I was sincere. I meant it from the heart. And within 2 weeks, my face was on the news. And I'm not saying that I would have chose that path. I'm not trying to make light of the situation. I wouldn't have chose that at all, but I do see the power in it. While I was inside, there was it felt divine. Every resource that I needed came to me, including leadership, mentors, resources. My family was cared for in special ways through a group of believers, a church in our town that was uncommon. And then also I became a peer leader at the facility that I did most of my time in, and it was a reentry based or reintegration focused prison facility. And really, they bring guys there for their last year, and you go through classes, and they bring in volunteers. I mean, it's a great program in my opinion, and it helped my change so much so that I became a peer leader in that program and created my own classes, my own outline that was basically from my own experiences. And not everybody was a believer, but I was able to kind of disguise some biblical principles in the class outlines that I created, and it began to help other people change along with me. And I see that God answered my prayer in a way that I believe, in a way that he saw as necessary. And I look back, and if that was the only way that I would get the relationship that I have with God and my family and the opportunity that I have, if that was the only way that it could happen, I wouldn't change it. I'd go through it all again.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about ViaPath Technologies. For folks who are less familiar, ViaPath Technologies, they have a pretty straightforward mission. It's to help break the cycle of incarceration through transformative technology and services for incarcerated individuals, their support networks, correctional agencies, and returning citizens. And so, what caught my attention wasn't just your story, Antonio, your story of transformation, your story of re-entering back into your community and your family, and doing well. But it's the role that technology has played in terms of giving you a second chance. And so when we come forward, I want to talk a little bit more about this technology that's giving you a second chance. And we'll also be joined with Jessie, who was once incarcerated herself. She's now a passionate advocate for children of incarcerated parents. She's using her platform to amplify the voices of those often overlooked in the justice system. Her personal journey, like Antonio's, it adds depth, it adds urgency to this important issue. And these are exactly the kinds of conversations we want to have right here on A More Perfect Union. When we come forward, more with Antonio, and we'll be joined with Jessie right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're looking to be engaged, enlightened, and empowered about issues related to national politics, elections, identity, culture change, and social justice, you tuned into the right place. A More Perfect Union continues when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. 2 Memphis, Tennessee lawmakers introduced a bill to ban guaranteed income programs in Tennessee. This follows Black Mayor Paul Young's proposal to give some residents $500 to $1,000. Republicans argue it would hurt Memphis and divert funds from other priorities. Chicago is investing $25 million to upgrade the CTA Green Line's Austin stop. Black Mayor Brandon Johnson joined officials for the groundbreaking. The project will add an elevator, escalator, and improved accessibility. Former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo picked up endorsements from Black Rep Gregory Meeks and the Queens Democratic Party in the New York City mayoral race, despite Meeks previously calling for his resignation. Cuomo now leads a crowded Democratic field, including Black Mayor Eric Adams. And the Trump administration is investigating UCLA, UC Irvine, Stanford, and UC Berkeley for allegedly using DEI criteria in student selection. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In North Hills on the 405 northbound before Roscoe, a disabled vehicle has the center lane blocked. Traffic really backed up all the way to the 10 there, and you're looking at delays of up to 40 minutes. In Griffith Park on the 134 eastbound at Forest Lawn, still working on trying to clear that crash from the 2 right lanes. Traffic stop from Cahuenga. And in Ontario on the 10 westbound before Archbold, a 2-vehicle crash has the left lane blocked.
Since the dawn of baseball, countless players have heard the call of destiny. Witness the hills of the game in ballparks nationwide. Get your tickets today at MLB.com/tickets. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The major challenge for the USC women's basketball team tonight is how to keep Connecticut guard Paige Beckers from wrecking their defense. Beckers had 40 points in UConn's win over Oklahoma on Saturday. The initial defensive assignment on Beckers has been handed to freshman Kennedy Smith. Smith will need a lot of help, and some of that help won't be there. Juju Watkins will be watching on TV. Tough task tonight for USC as they try to join UCLA in the Final Four. 6 p.m. tip-off on ESPN. The selection committee for the NCAA men's basketball tournament got it right. All 4 number 1 seeds made it to the Final Four: Houston, Florida, Duke, and Auburn. It's only the second time in the tournament's history that the 4 number 1 seeds advanced. The first time it happened was in 2008. UCLA was joined by Kansas, Memphis, and North Carolina. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their program. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Hit me! National news of consequence, informed opinion, and analysis beyond the headlines. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are streaming and listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and I am so enjoying this conversation today. We are talking about some of the things that really matter. And I think sometimes, particularly in a time such as this, we get so caught up in the day's headlines and we forget to take a look at the folks among us, the leaders on the front lines that I think represent a North Star for us. This show is called A More Perfect Union, and it doesn't get more perfect by itself. It gets more perfect because of the brave individuals, that dare to do things that other folks might say is impossible. We're talking about reentry. We're talking about redemption. We're talking about resilience, and I'm pleased to welcome to the show, Jesse. Jesse, can you hear me all right?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can. Welcome to the show. Jessie Mabry is a champion of change. She is also a consultant to ViaPath. That's the organization that is leading champions of change. She has an inspiring story herself, and she is here to tell it. Jessie is also the director and producer of a short film called The Candle, which was recently selected for the Worldwide Women's Film Festival. What a way to end Women's History Month.
Yes.
Thank you, Jessie, for joining us. Talk to us about what got you engaged with ViaPath.
The engagement connection with ViaPath came from, I also work in the nonprofit world as a development manager and for reentry. So I was able to meet with some wonderful people at ViaPath that are Jessica and Aubrey and Michelle. And I came to join the organization as a consultant and I work with the Champions of Change program.
And you know, you're not new to this, you're true to this. For people that don't know, Jessie has worked for more than 15 years supporting justice impacted women, and her passion to help other women was sparked by the desire to help herself overcome in spite of it. Jessie, can you share a little bit about your personal story that anchors this work that you do supporting so many justice involved women?
I was incarcerated as well, as you mentioned earlier, Doctor, and I did 27 years of incarceration. During that 27-year period, I left my daughter at the age of 11. She picked me up at the age of 38 and brought me back home. So that also ties into ViaPath, because without ViaPath, I would not have the connection that I have with my daughter today. A lot of people have a lot of angst towards ViaPath because of the negativity that they spew about expense and everything that's caused in the prison system for telephones and things of that nature. But as a person who did 27 years, without that connection, I could not connect to my child. So as a parent, it was a sacrifice because my child and our bond is priceless. So I always like to say that to people, because when we're talking about second chances, that's a second chance that would not exist without ViaPath. That is my main connection to ViaPath. I have no problem working with them whatsoever because of that. My incarceration during my time, as Antonio also mentioned, I am a certified Stephen minister, one of the first 7 women in the United States that was incarcerated to become a Stephen minister. I'm also a certified peer specialist mental health and addictive disorders. While I was in prison, I worked with amongst my peers, helping my peers through my Stephen ministry skills. So I worked hard on myself and helping my sisters at the same time. There was no other path for me upon release, but to continue on that path, continuing to help mothers and other women as well as men. My main focus is the children of incarcerated parents, because I was one of them that created collateral damage while in prison. And I encourage other women to continue to care for their child and show them how they too could parent from prison.
I mean, just as I'm learning more and more about your story and really about your ministry, I mean, you know, I'm thinking about what Antonio shared earlier, and I'm thinking about the work and witness that you've had over some time. And to me, it feels like a ministry. You know, for people who are less familiar with ViaPath, what is it? What is it exactly? And who are, you know, who's eligible to be a part of ViaPath's programming? There may be people that are formerly incarcerated that are listening to us right now. There may be family members of people who are incarcerated who will soon be set free. And so who are you all looking for to tap into the opportunities that ViaPath offers?
ViaPath, as far as what they offer to people who are incarcerated currently, about to be released, ViaPath offers a road of employment that other employers are not bothering to utilize because they're underestimating that person that is being released. ViaPath knows the skill set that these people possess and wants to hire them into their organization. While we're in prison, the way we know ViaPath is by the usage of the phone system and the tablets. Those tablets bring us information. Those tablets bring our families to us for a visit online, especially through COVID, things of that nature. So that's what ViaPath meant while incarcerated. But once you're released, they're constantly offering jobs to those previously incarcerated because they know the skills that they possess. They're one of the employers who really are reentry friendly. There are many that say they are.
Yeah, yeah. So if I understand it correctly, so ViaPath, it fulfills a need on one hand in terms of being able to facilitate a connection with one's family, basically via like FaceTime type technology for folks who are incarcerated. But at the same time, it's sharpening people's technological skills, because if they didn't have access to technologies like the technologies that are offered by ViaPath, then depending on how long they're away, they may miss out on the critical technological skills that they need in order to come out and compete and get a job. Am I getting that right?
That's true. That's definitely true. You also can add in there that it connects families. That's a major component, because upon release, you not only want a job, you want a way to bond with your family that helps you to transition once you are released.
Yeah.
So especially in a women's prison, that's key because you're probably the main provider for that family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So these are all key factors. Also, they help with knowledge about resumes, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
On the tablets themselves.
Antonio, was there something you wanted to add?
Yes, definitely. I'd like to add, we're a technology company that really we have limitless potential, in my opinion. I was inside and I had, my own viewpoint of ViaPath and the companies that work in this space. But after joining this company, it has totally changed. And I can't speak for the other companies, but I can speak for ViaPath. They are sincere about really wanting to help people. They understand something about freedom. This is something that I learned as well. Freedom isn't just the absence of bars and concrete. Freedom is the presence of opportunity. And you can release a person, but if you don't give them a chance, if you don't open doors for them, what's left for them is what they know. And if they're coming from prison, what do they know? They know crime. They know streets. ViaPath is definitely giving others the opportunity. We have messaging platforms, video visits. We have financial services, but we also have branched into second chance hiring. We have a company that is focused sincerely on helping people with criminal records gain employment. We're bridging the gap between these returning citizens who need this opportunity and companies who have jobs and spaces that they can fill, roles that need to be filled. And at this time that we live now, more and more they need these roles filled. And the solution is to remove the stigma that society has on people with backgrounds. And I wasn't aware that it was this serious until I received the felony conviction and came home in 2021. There are people that, regardless of whatever good work we do, whatever checkpoints we make on the path to redemption, they're going to always see us as former criminals. And in their mind, we don't deserve opportunity. I can definitely speak that ViaPath is not one of those companies, and we are looking for opportunities to branch out and give more returning citizens chances to change their lives and bridge the gap between them and more companies.
And also what we're trying to do is at ViaPath is also connect other employers and educate them as well. Show them that they too can employ people returning, other returning citizens. Yes, all of us should do that as employers. And ViaPath is taking the time to connect employers and show them the value of hiring second chance people.
When we come forward, Antonio and Jesse, I want you to stick around just a little while longer. This conversation is just so good, and I think there are so many leaders, learners, and listeners that are getting so much out of this very rich conversation. There have been a lot of headlines around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So many companies across corporate America really stepping back from their commitments, and I think there are some folks that just see DEI as, simply a tool to help Black folks. Well, we know it's about more than just helping Black folks. It's about helping women, helping veterans, helping those who are formerly incarcerated. And so I'm curious as to what your takes are on the movement against diversity, equity, and inclusion, and this idea that the formerly incarcerated are sort of getting lost in this conversation. I want to get your take on that and more when we come forward. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
At Providence, health equity is the foundation of our community health initiatives, ensuring care reaches those who need it most. Heart disease is the leading cause of death in America. African Americans face a higher risk of life-threatening issues like hypertension, the number one cause of stroke. 55% of Black adults have high blood pressure. The good news is 80% of heart disease is preventable with healthy lifestyle changes and patient-centered care provided by the Providence Heart and Vascular Institute. From routine screenings to advanced procedures, Providence provides comprehensive care for the heart conditions that overly impact our community by ensuring patients receive treatments tailored to their needs. Let's stop the trend of being 30% more likely to die from heart-related problems. Take charge of your heart health with world-class cardiologists who deliver the compassionate care you deserve. Visit providence.org/SoCalHeart. That's providence.org/SoCalHeart to request an appointment.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now. No more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary, coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation with my friends over at ViaPath Technologies. For folks who are less familiar with ViaPath Technologies, their mission is, again, it's pretty straightforward. They're all about helping break the cycle of incarceration through transformative technology and services for incarcerated individuals, for their support networks, for correctional agencies, and returning citizens. What I love so much about it is that it's also developing their skills, right? And so while people are incarcerated and doing their time, what's so great about this technology is it allows them to continue to connect with their families, but also connect with technology. I mean, my goodness, how many different versions of the iPhone have we had in the past 5 years? Can you imagine being incarcerated, and you're used to an iPhone 6, and now we're at what? An iPhone 15, 16, right? And so I think what you all are doing is phenomenal in terms of helping to keep people's technological skills sharp. But before the break, I'd ask you both to offer your hot take in this environment that is so hostile to all things diversity, equity, and inclusion. Jess, I want you to take the first crack at this. Are the hopes and dreams and prospects and opportunities of formerly incarcerated individuals getting lost in this battle around diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Sadly, these hopes and dreams were lost prior to that because we weren't even in the equation. As far as anybody was concerned, we didn't even count one way or the other. So as we come out the door, as Antonio mentioned initially, we have to create a path for ourselves. We have to be very determined to do so. And those of us that come out that are not determined to do so, they stand on our shoulders. We make a path for them. ViaPath is very good at showing how inclusive we should be. And they're encouraging other employers to do the same. Because second chance hiring isn't a charity, it's a smart investment in people and communities. You'll find that we are the most loyal to the job when we come out, and the employers who hire us will quote the same fact. We stay on the job. We're good at the job. We don't leave. We're not going from pillar to post, job to job. We stay right there. And companies can strengthen their workforce and their community impact by embracing a second chance hire.
Yeah. Antonio, what about you? What's your take on diversity, equity, and inclusion? Are formerly incarcerated folks getting lost in the mix?
I can't speak for other companies or organizations, but not here. With the recent changes that have occurred, they definitely made it very clear in various ways to us internally that we still support DEI. And also, there is so many different things that's going on. There's so much that I could elaborate on, but I don't have a lot of time. But I will say that we don't just focus. We focus on the inmates. We focus on the facility partners. We also have 2C that is focusing on returning citizens to help them find jobs. The ViaPath Foundation, I'm the treasurer of the ViaPath Foundation, and they focus on giving real resources to organizations that support the children of the incarcerated. And I mean, like, real money, real resources that help them. I've been a part of so many different outreaches and events. It's just been so fulfilling to see people putting their money where their mouth is in a real way in a space like this. I really didn't understand the need for DEI until my life changed in 2012. And I think it seems like that the ideal with some people is that this is people are just being given jobs or given opportunities. And I work hard for the opportunity that I've been given, and other people. Jesse works hard. We don't get in the door sometimes because of our skin, but once we get in the door, this is merit based. It's not just somebody giving me an opportunity in a role. I have to work. I have to prove. I have to get results, and I'm good at it because I've had a time period in my life where I had limited resources for years, and I had to use creativity. I had to come up with ideas. I had to be resourceful to get basic things done, to get letters out or get a application done. And then coming home from prison after the pandemic, everything changed. There's no more paper applications. Everything's online. You know, you got guys that have done 10, 20, 30 years that's coming home and they haven't touched a computer because they don't have access to this technology. The tablet program is phenomenal. It literally changed my life. I only got access to the tablet the last about 18 months of my sentence. If I had it the whole 5 years, man, I could have did so much more. I could have accomplished so much more. I was able to sit and not have to share a wall phone and a device which may contaminate me with COVID. I had my own personal device. I could focus on helping my daughter with homework, which I did several times. We had video visitation. It gave me a sense of normalcy. I had a device that was mine, and it gave me value, and I was able to use the educational resources away from the distractions of classrooms in prison, which may have individuals that don't want to be there.
Yeah.
There's so many benefits that it's just not enough time to share.
That's what it sounds like. My thanks to Antonio and Jesse from ViaPath. We'll have to have you both back again soon. I am absolutely captivated by the work that you all are doing. And it's technologically savvy work. It's important work. It's community work. And I can't thank you enough for sharing your stories with us.
Thank you, Doctor. Can I say one more thing?
Sure, 10 seconds.
Very quickly.
Uh-huh.
I want to put something out there about Champions of Change, which Antonio and I are both members of. And there are 5 other people that are part of this too. We all come from different parts of the United States, have been just as impacted in some way. And we have our visions and our advocacy work that is supported by ViaPath. So I would like to give them that credit for that.
Well, we appreciate you for that. We'll have to leave it there. My thanks to the entire village helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley, our sound engineer, Andy, our show producers, Faraji, Kim, and Art, and of course, each and every one of you, all of our leaders, learners, and listeners, we thank you. We curate this show every day with incredible guests like Antonio and Jesse, folks on the front lines doing their part to build a more perfect union. Remember, don't panic, organize, do what you can from where you are with what you have. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Corte, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Saying he's campaigning for president, not running Maryland. Black Georgia Democratic Rep Lucy McBath has paused her 2026 governor bid due to her husband's health after cancer surgery. While she may run in the future, her focus now is his recovery. Northern Kentucky University is ending its DEI initiatives following a state law. Programs for African American, Latino, and LGBTQ+ students will be dissolved, and scholarships based on race, gender, or identity will be eliminated. And Kannapolis, North Carolina is honoring Milton Taylor, the city's first Black principal and a key figure in school integration, by renaming East C Street after him 60 years after he began his work at what's now Kannapolis Middle School. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
In Artesia on the 91 West